When it comes to you choosing what website builder you should use to either build your own website or use to build your customers' or clients' websites as a web designer, it can be a complete minefield. All of them are good at very different things, and it can be hard to understand which one's going to suit you or your customers best. So in this video, we're going to be taking a look at what I consider to be the top 5 website builders that exist on the internet at the moment. We're going to be taking a look at how they compare in terms of the design, the functionality, SEO, and more importantly, pricing and ease of use. And first of all, we're going to be taking a look at WordPress. Now, WordPress originated as a blogging tool, but this has now later developed into a fully fledged content management system and is the most popular one that exists on the internet. We're then going to be taking a look at Wix, which claims to have originated as an AI website builder. And Wix is great for small businesses looking to get their business online fast. We're then going to be taking a look at Squarespace, which is also a content management system. It's been commended on its simplicity and it allows people to get their website online very, very easily and quickly. We are then taking a look at Webflow. Now, Webflow is pretty new to the game and it's focused around helping website designers be able to build their own websites. It's been commended on its fast development and ease of use. So we're going to be throwing that into the mix and seeing how that compares to the others. We're then going to be taking a look at Shopify, which is our main e-commerce platform or content management system, allowing you to easily set up an online store in just a few steps. And be able to manage not only your website content, but also your products as well. Now, I'm really excited to share with you how all of these compare. It did take me a little while to crawl the internet, read blog articles, watch videos, look at countless comparison tables, and also having first-hand experience, throw in my own opinions based on all of these tools. Now, make sure you watch all of the video because we are going to be covering design, we're going to be covering pricing, we're going to be covering functionality, SEO. There's so much that's included in here that by the end of the video, you're going to have a pretty good idea which tool is going to be best for either yourself or the customers that you're serving. Now, first of all, we're looking at ease of use of each of the platforms. Now, WordPress, I've given a 3 out of 5. And the reason for this is, although out of the box, WordPress is relatively easy to use. Remember, it's a blogging tool first and foremost. So in order to, by extending the functionality, it often relies on additional development or additional plugins. Now, the more plugins and functionality that you pump into the WordPress site, it does affect its ease of use. Things can become a little bit more complicated. Essentially, the opportunities with it are endless, but as a price, you do have to sacrifice the ease of use a little bit when compared to the other platforms. Wix is a 4.3 out of 5, a pretty easy to use in my opinion. They've done a very good job of keeping things simple. So if you are a beginner looking to get your website online, Wix is, or could possibly be a good choice. Again, very similar with Squarespace. So if you are new to the web or you are starting a business and you need to get something online, Squarespace is going to allow you to do that quite easily as well. Webflow is 5 out of 5. Now, Webflow is super interesting because it's tailored towards designers. And if you are a designer looking to build a website, you can do so very, very easy without needing to code. But also if you're handing a Webflow website over to a customer to manage in terms of updating their content, things are incredibly simple there as well. So I've given that a 5. Shopify is e-commerce. Things can be a little bit difficult. Not only are you having to manage the website content, things like pages and images and text, but you also have all of the product management on top of that and the categorization of products. So despite it being quite big, they've done a very good job of keeping it relatively easy to use, but not quite a 5 out of 5. All right, so now let's look at the community. Now, this is super important if you are an active user in any one of these tools. If you are a web designer and looking for what website builder you can use to deliver websites to your clients, then community is going to be super important. Now, just to give you some perspective on the size of each of these, let's look at the websites that each of them power, or the amount of websites that they're powering. We've got WordPress. WordPress is huge. It powers 445 million websites, okay? And that's, as far as I'm aware, still growing. Wix is slightly under that at 110 million. Squarespace is only 2 million. Webflow is 200,000. So out of the mix here, Webflow is certainly the smallest, okay? But don't let that put you off because Webflow is a new player to the game. So that community is growing. The user base is growing as well. And then finally, we've got Shopify. Now, being the only e-commerce platform in the mix today and being one of the most popular e-commerce platforms, I would have anticipated the amount of websites that it powers to be higher. However, if you are looking at WordPress, WordPress allowed you to build e-commerce stores as well with the WooCommerce plugin. So there is a large number of online stores that exist that are being powered with WordPress, but don't forget we've got the likes of Magento as well. So then let's look, now looking at support. So I've given WordPress support 4 out of 5. Now originally I was going to make this lower, but I wanted to be fair. Now although with WordPress you don't have any immediate support, you can't raise any support tickets or anything like that, there is an online forum that you can go to. So the community aspect of it is very strong. Okay, with that amount of users, with that amount of websites being powered, you would anticipate that the community is large, and it is. So you never have to look too far to receive help. It just means that you're not getting quick responses sometimes when you do have a problem. Wix I've given 3 out of 5, so no real strong support system there. It's not huge, so sometimes finding help online is difficult. It doesn't have quite a big community when compared to WordPress. Squarespace is slightly better than that. You are able to send support tickets, which is fantastic. Webflow, this is out of all of them probably the best in terms of support. We've got a great, you've got a great growing community, and also you can send support tickets and get a response from them pretty quickly. And then Shopify, I've put 4 out of 5, but if I'm honest, it probably matches Webflow. It could be up towards a 4.5, maybe even 5, because based on recent experience using Shopify and needing some support, the support was actually really good. Okay, I had a problem, I was able to get in contact with them via live chat, and I got an answer to my query within minutes. Okay, there was another occasion where I needed a problem to be fixed and it took them a couple of days, which based on the problem I had at the time was still a very good turnaround time. Okay, so let's have a look at how all of these shape up when it comes to website design. Okay, so first of all, looking at the theme design. So the theme is the front end visual of your website. It's what you see when people visit your site. So looking first of all at WordPress, I've put the theme designs as a 3.5. And the reason for this is, despite them having such a huge library available, I found that a lot of the themes are very samey in terms of convention. There's nothing really mind-blowing these days, and compared to some of the other theme designs available on other platforms, I do think that there is room for improvement with WordPress. Now Wix is a 4.5. I do think Wix are making very, really nice websites. They kept things very simple and allow you as a designer or a business owner to go in, choose a very, very nice theme from the theme library. Squarespace, in my opinion, makes some of the best looking websites that I've seen on the internet. And I'd argue that there's definitely a style with them, but in terms of the designs that are available, I think that they're stunning. So I've given that 5 out of 5. Webflow, again, 5 out of 5. I've seen some of the most incredible looking websites that I've seen in terms of visuals, composition, and interactivity. These have been built on Webflow. So Webflow is a 5 out of 5. Shopify, I've put 3.5 out of 5, similar to WordPress, same reasons. The theme library that is available, despite the themes being nice, they're not very groundbreaking in terms of moving away from common store conventions. And I know that there's an argument for conventions needing to be there, and I completely agree with that, but sometimes I'd like to see things that are just less. Sometimes I just like to see things that are not all pretty much the same. Templates. So the templates are available. So let's move on to templates. So WordPress has an insane amount of templates available. You know, I've done a Google search. There's over 31,000 templates available. So whatever type of website that you need, whether it's for dentistry, lawyer, for a charity, anything that you can think of, the chances of there being a template is pretty high. Wix, we have just over 100 templates. So in terms of the template library, not so much available. So you are going to be a bit limited there. Exactly the same there with Squarespace. Webflow has just over 1,000, Webflow has just over 1,000 templates available, which in my opinion, based on how many people are using Webflow at the moment, that's a huge library that is available, and that is only going to continue to grow. Shopify just has over 100 templates available as well. So if you are looking to use a Shopify template, your choice isn't going to be all that great. Now moving on to responsiveness, which means will the website work on desktop, mobile and tablet? WordPress, you can build responsive websites, no problem. Wix, I've listed as no. Now Wix doesn't have responsive functionality, but it does, however, allow you to build a mobile version of the site, but that's not quite responsive. It just means that you have a mobile version. Squarespace, yep, responsive. Webflow, yep, and Shopify, yep. Design flexibility, I've put WordPress as a 4.2. Now, Depending on how you're building websites, if you are building it with a custom theme, then you're going to need to know how to build via HTML, CSS, and PHP. But your flexibility there is pretty endless. However, if you are using a theme, you get a little less flexibility. However, you can update your logo, you can update brand colors, you can update fonts and things like that. You just can't update the layout. There's no drag and drop unless you are using, again, another plugin that gives you page builder functionality. Then you can go as far to start dragging and dropping elements. Now moving on to Wix design flexibility, there is a bit of flexibility, especially if you're using the Editor X framework. You can build custom websites using drag and drop system, which is great. Or you can use a theme, and there is, again, similar to WordPress, minor design flexibility in terms of adding your images, changing colors and things like that. Squarespace 4.3. Now, you don't get a lot of flexibility when using most of the themes. There is a series of themes being released these days that do allow you to drag and drop components. So from what I've seen, you're able to drag text, you're able to drag buttons, you're able to change the size of columns, position elements on the page. So it does give you a bit more flexibility there. But overall, I've given it a 4.3. Webflow is a 4.8. So out of a lot of these, Webflow is the best in my opinion in terms of design flexibility. The reason for that is it's built on a complete drag and drop system to allow you to build a website from scratch. Okay, now you can't just do this as I'd say non-techie person. You have to have a small understanding of how websites are built in order to achieve this, but you don't have to be a hardcore coder in order to build a website in Webflow. And finally, design flexibility in Shopify. From what I've seen, there's not a huge amount of flexibility. You can't reposition certain elements on the page. You can go as far to change the order that content blocks appear in, but that's about it. So a little less design flexibility. So out of the list, Shopify is the worst in my opinion. Now let's move on to the most important thing, and that tends to be pricing. Okay, a lot of decisions are based on pricing. Okay, first of all, let's look at free trials. WordPress, no, you don't get a free trial. Wix, you don't get a free trial. Squarespace, you do. Webflow, you don't, and Shopify, you don't. So out of all of these, Squarespace is the only one that offers a free trial. But instead, if we're looking at a free plan, WordPress, there is a free plan. Now, you don't have to actually pay for WordPress. It's an open source tool, which is why it has such a great community, because it is completely free to use. Wix does have a free plan. Squarespace doesn't have a free plan. Webflow does. However, you can't use your custom domain until you start paying for the monthly subscription. And Shopify, there is no free plan option there as well. So in terms of pricing and what all of these costs, there is a basic plan available. So I've put WordPress as $5. The reason for that is the only thing you have to pay for is your hosting. So assuming that you get hosting for $5, it's only going to cost you that per month. Wix is $16 per month. Squarespace is $9.99 per month. Webflow is $18 per month, and Shopify is $19 per month. So out of the lot, Shopify is the most expensive. Webflow is coming in second on the basic plan. But the most popular plan that people tend to go for, WordPress, $5 again. Again, you only have to pay for hosting. Wix is the $22 plan option. Squarespace is the $14.99 option. Webflow is the $29 option. And Shopify is the $49 option. So Shopify out of this list is the most expensive. But let's not forget, it's an online store. It has a bit more functionality than all of these in terms of being able to sell products. So if you are selling products online, $49 is a small price to pay. Now $29 for Webflow, you could argue that it's on the pricier side, especially when you compare it to some of the others. Squarespace is out of the four that are paid is the cheapest. So that could be a very good option for you. But if you are looking for a free tool, then WordPress is free. Now looking into the domains and security. So this is very important in my opinion, especially when it comes to security. So do you get a free custom domain when you sign up to each one of these website builders? WordPress, you don't. Okay, remember it's free. You're only paying for the system. You deal with the hosting and the domain separately yourself. Wix, you do get a free custom domain, which is awesome, and same with Squarespace. So each one of these is fantastic if you are a new business and you're looking to get up and running pretty quickly. Each one of these tools are going to be really good for you. Webflow, you don't get a free custom domain, and neither do you with Shopify. So WordPress, Webflow, and Shopify, you need to buy a domain separately and then plug it into each one of those once you've built your website. SSL security, all of them come with SSL security, which is perfect because Google enforces us these days to have an SSL certificate. Otherwise, our sites are flagged as unsafe, which isn't great for user experience, and it certainly isn't good for SEO either. So all of these handle that, which is perfect. So looking at search engine optimization, so the amount of SEO control that is available on each one of these. WordPress I've put as 5 out of 5 because you do get pretty good control over your search engine optimization content, be it the titles, the description, image alt tags. Wix is a 5.5 too because you get full control over your SEO. Squarespace 4.5. I feel like Squarespace, when compared to the others, was just a little bit more basic, okay, in terms of the amount of control that you have. You can update your titles and your site descriptions quite nicely. Being able to find where to update the homepage SEO and being able to plug in like Google Search Console, that was a little bit more complicated compared to the others. Webflow 5 out of 5 and Shopify 5 out of 5. So all of them are really good for SEO control. Squarespace just slightly coming under some of the others. Now website speed, this again is very important for SEO or search engine optimization. So WordPress I've given a 4 out of 5. Right, now this is up for debate in my opinion because WordPress, you can extend the functionality of it. We've already discussed that. Now, the more that you extend the functionality by way of perhaps plugins, the more plugins that you have, it's going to bloat the site. The more bloated the site is, the slower it will become. So it kind of is relative. It tends to be that the bigger WordPress website that you have that relies on a lot of plugins, then the slower it will be. WordPress has been given a bad reputation based on speed. I kind of get it, but you can't blame WordPress as a tool because WordPress is not the problem. WordPress is actually pretty good for website speed. So I have given that a 4 out of 5 based on everything that I've just said. Wix is a 4 out of 5 as well. It says that typically you can get 80% page speeds out of it. So I've given that a 4 out of 5. Squarespace 3.5 out of 5, slightly slower than some of the others. Webflow is a 5 out of 5. Webflow backend and code is so clean that it produces websites that are typically very fast. And then Shopify I've given a 3 out of 5. So Shopify stores are some of the slowest websites that I've had the experience of working with. So I've given that a 3 out of 5. Right, now looking at backups and exports. So this is again is important. If anything ever goes wrong with your website, you want to perhaps be able to export it or back it up and restore from a backup. So looking at which one of these allow you to export websites. WordPress, yes you can. You can export the WordPress information, you can export the website code. The website exists on your server so you can pull all the files off if you want. You own the website. Whereas with Wix, you don't own the site. Okay, so you build on the platform and it has to stay on the platform. So if you ever looking to move away, you can't take your Wix website with you. Squarespace, from what I can see, you can export your site. Webflow, you can export your site. However, if you are using a content management system of Webflow, you cannot export that side. You can only export the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And in Shopify, you're unable to export and move your website to somewhere else as well. Although you can export the theme, Shopify uses its own programming language called Liquid, so it's your Shopify store will only work in Shopify. Now looking at whether you can restore from a backup, you can restore from backups on all of these tools. Okay, whether it uses an additional plugin or not, it is possible to restore from backups. Now moving on to functionality and how capable each one of these tools are. We're going to start off with blogging. So blogging, I've given a 5 out of 5 for WordPress. Remember, it started as a blogging tool, so the blogging functionality on it is awesome. Wix, still a very good blogging tool. Squarespace, very good blogging tool. Webflow and Shopify are still very good blogging options as well. So they're all very capable at blogging. I would say that WordPress is the best out of the lot, but still Webflow and Squarespace are capable too. Now looking at e-commerce, all of these can handle e-commerce functionality, whether it means that you're having to pay for a higher package or whether you're having to extend the native functionality. For example, with WordPress, you would need a WooCommerce plugin. Webflow, you would need to sign up to the e-commerce package. Squarespace, you would need to sign up to the e-commerce package. And Shopify's a e-commerce tool anyway, so we know that that takes care of that. Newsletters, they can all accept newsletter functionality, so you can allow people to sign up and you can build a mailing list. Memberships, they all allowed membership functionality. Again, whether you need to install additional plugins to handle this, it is possible. And then finally, plugin extensions, so being able to extend the functionality beyond what it gives you out of the box. With WordPress, there are hundreds and hundreds of plugins available, so you can extend the functionality with plugins there. Wix you cannot, there's no plugins. Squarespace there are. Webflow there is not. And Shopify there are additional plugins available, okay? So we've covered a lot there, but now to the most important bit, like where do we rank all of these? Like what do we give, what score are we gonna give these? Now I've given each one of these a score out of 5. WordPress I've given a 4.6. Okay, based on everything that we've discussed so far, I feel like that is a pretty good score for it. Wix is a 4.8, so slightly higher than WordPress. Squarespace I've given a 4.6, so that this in my opinion is on par with WordPress based on everything that we've discussed. Webflow is a 4.9 and Shopify is a 4.7. So out of all of these, I've actually declared Webflow the winner. Now it's really important for me to make sure that despite me being a WordPress user myself, I wanted to remain completely impartial because I know that there are other tools available and they're all very good at delivering things in their own way and again suitable for you depending on your needs and requirements. So in my own opinion, Webflow comes in first, Wix is second, Shopify is third, and WordPress and Squarespace are drawn for fourth. So there you go, hopefully you found that really valuable. We've covered a lot there and there's a lot of information for you to take a look at and compare on many different factors. Now, after doing this research, I was actually blown away by how capable all of the other tools are that are available these days. Now, as a WordPress user, it would have been really easy for me to say that WordPress is the best, but you can see WordPress is a great tool, but there are also very good alternatives available as well, depending on what you need to get from it. So hopefully all that information has been useful for you so you can now make a clear and informed decision what you are going to choose as your website builder's choice. Let me know down in the comments, guys, what website builder that you are using. And if you have found this valuable, please do give it a thumbs up. I'd really appreciate it. There is an end screen appearing any time now with more valuable videos for you to go and check out. And if you haven't done so already, please do hit that subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.